I put strap locks on everything, and these Schaller strap locks are my favorite ones. These screws, the head of the screw has to go down in that hole. Now, with most of my guitars and basses, I use the stock screw because I know it fits the hole of the guitar, and it usually fits into this hole. With Ibanez guitars, it drives me nuts, but see how big this is versus this? And that screw that's in there, I don't know if I'm showing, I'm terrible at this. That screw that's in there will not fit in that hole. This is a little, just a piece of felt, kind of protects your guitar body so that when your strap button is tightened up, it doesn't push the metal piece into the finish and chip it and all that kind of stuff. And then this will come out. Okay, so this is the great big strap button that Ibanez uses, and this is the screw. The diameter of the screw is much bigger, but also the size of the head is much bigger. So when you're trying to install these, not only will the head not fit in there, but the actual screw itself won't fit down in the hole. So this won't work. But because this is so much bigger than this one that came with the strap lock, I have to figure something out. So basically this hole is too big, and if I put that in there, it might thread in, it might fit okay, but it's not gonna be as tight a fit, which is not as secure a fit as the stock one. So take a toothpick or any little piece of wood and just trim off some. I usually try to go with bigger pieces than this, but it doesn't take much. You know, like one or two little of these slivers will be enough that it'll just kind of make it a tight fit for this little screw. So I'm going to put 2 of these slivers in there, and then I'm just going to put that screw in there. Anytime I'm putting a screw into wood, I try to start it with my fingers, because the last thing you want to do is strip out a guitar body. At least with a strap button, you can always kind of throw toothpicks in there and make it work. Some people use glue, which is great, but you don't have to. The glue is a nice addition. It'll definitely make it that much sturdier, but in general, the toothpicks are strong enough to make a good bond. But see, I don't know if you can tell, this isn't, it's stripped. This screw's not big enough. So it felt like it was going to work when I first put that in there. Stripped out. So we're going to take this off. No big deal. And, alright, we've already got one of them in there. Maybe we'll grab another one, put that in there. Let's just take another one and put in there. I don't know how many you want to go with. We'll try. What have we got in there now? 4 or 5? Try that. And if that doesn't work, if that feels stripped out, then we'll try something else. Now this does feel a little bit better. I also try not to wrench on it too hard. It is easy to strip this kind of stuff. Just kind of get it to where it feels pretty tight, where I don't feel like I'm over tightening it, but I also don't feel like it's going to give anytime soon. That's pretty solid right there. As you saw with that last one, you don't really need too much. We'll just kind of whittle this down a little bit until we get something that, see, like that right there looks pretty good. I don't know if you can really tell, but cut about a half or more of that off. So we'll break that and we'll put that in the hole. It's about that much too long, so we just need to kind of break off the piece. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's not enough. That one feels pretty good. I'll check this intonation one more time before I plug it in and try to play her. One thing to keep in mind when you're working with wood is that everything shifts. Everything bows, changes direction, things give. When you're setting up a guitar and you take the neck that has no strings on it and you put strings on it, that pressure from the strings pulling will have an effect on the neck, and then as you adjust the strings and tune the strings, it'll have an effect on the neck. And also, because it has an effect on the neck, it has an effect on the other strings. If you put one string on and tighten it to pitch, you have one string pulling on the neck's pulling on the string, and those things balance out to a pitch that you're looking for. But as soon as you put on the second string, now you have 2 strings that are pulling on the neck, and the neck is pulling against 2 strings. It doesn't have the same power over the strings that it had when it was just 1 string, and the strings don't have to work necessarily as hard to pull the neck. So you can tune up that second string, and then the first string is going to be flat. It's going to go that way as you get all the strings done. And then as you start setting the intonation, you start running into maybe issues where things have shifted even a little bit more. With this guitar, this is originally a tremolo bridge, and I always just make the bridge as solid and unmovable as it can be. This bridge was pretty easy to do that with. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guitar, but if I were to keep it, I would definitely change out the tuners. They seem really kind of awful. Like in the Twilight Zone with this thing. showing just as sharp as it was. I don't really have anywhere else to go with this. This is as far back as it goes. It's super annoying to try to do this and turn back that way and look, so I'm going to just turn off the camera and get the intonation set up. It's a pretty straightforward process, but I don't know if it's something to do with these tuners or what it is, but having a heck of a time. Hey, P.S. If you're wondering why I only played the guitar with distortion on it, I probably should have tried some other tones, but realistically I have several guitars, and I didn't have anything with humbuckers in it. So the only thing I really cared about with this guitar was whether or not it would sound good with some distortion, some grit. If I am to keep this guitar, it's going to be something that I use for those kinds of tones. So that's all I really cared about. I do understand that it would have been cool if I played some clean stuff, maybe some delay, different things like that. Maybe I'll revisit that and make a different video of me playing some other kinds of music. Like I said, the only thing I really cared about was getting some tones that I could use for any kind of heavier stuff that I'm writing. And all of my other guitars are definitely the guitars I would go to for cleans. With this guitar missing the 2 single coil pickups, the humbucker is a little muddy for my taste for the cleans. Because of that, I just don't feel like I'm ever going to use this guitar for anything except distorted, heavy, kind of chunkier parts. So that's the reason why I did the demo the way I did it. If anybody's upset with me about that, I apologize.